Hey, Mrs. Hardesty here. Just going over what we did today in reading for our live lesson. So, the question that we are going to answer for this week in discussion three about Thunder Cake is: do you think Grandma has made the Thunder Cake before? And what evidence from the text helps you to come up with that answer? So, you need to make sure you have text evidence to support your answer of yes or no. The answering just yes or just no is not going to be enough to get you the full credit. So you need to answer both parts of that question. So we're going to answer that here today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to look at Thunder Cake here. So I'm going to just kind of get this a little bit smaller here for us to look at it. So, what I want us to do is we're just going to look at here and just see, did Grandma ever make this before? So, on sultry summer days at my grandma's farm in Michigan, the air gets damp and heavy. Storm clouds drift low over the fields. Birds fly close to the ground. The clouds glow for an instant with a sharp, crackling light, and then a roaring, tumbling. Um, the clouds. Did I say that? Anyways, let's keep on going. The clouds glow for an instant with a sharp crackling light, then a roaring, low, tumbling sound of thunder makes the windows shudder within their panes. The sound used to scare me when I was little. I loved to go to Grandma's house. Babushka, as I call my grandma, had come from Russia years before. But I feared Michigan's summer storms. I feared the sound of thunder more than anything. I always hid under the bed when the storm moved near the farmhouse. This is the story of how my grandma, my babushka, helped me overcome my fear of thunderstorms. Grandma looked at the horizon, drew a deep breath in, and said, "This is thunder cake baking weather, all right. Looks like a storm coming to me." And so that detail right there at the very last sentence there, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this or underline this right here. And maybe I will um, highlight this if I can. So I want us to look right here. Oops, let me erase all that. Clear all my drawings here. So I want us to look right here at that. So right here, um, right there is where I kind of want us to look here. So I'm going to draw my little line under here. Um, and Grandma looked at the horizon, drew a deep breath, and said, "This is thunder cake baking weather, all right. Looks like a storm coming to me." And that evidence right there tells me that yes, she has baked this cake before because she knows that when a thunderstorm comes, and they do come pretty often, as we learned before up in Michigan, that you make a thunder cake. So that's telling me that she has made them before. Because she knows to make them when a thunderstorm comes. So yes, in fact, she has made them before. I'm going to go ahead and go to another part of the book here. On the next page, "Child, you come out from under that bed. It's only thunder you're hearing," my grandma said. The air was hot, heavy, and damp. A loud clap of thunder shook the house, rattled the windows, and made me grab her close. "Steady, child," she cooed. "Unless you let go of me, we won't be able to bake thunder cake today." "Thunder cake," I stammered as I hugged her even closer. Don't pay attention to that old thunder except to see how close the storm's getting. When you see the lightning, start counting real slow. When you hear the thunder, stop counting. That number is how many miles away the storm is. Understand? She asked. We need to know how far away the storm is so we have time to make the cake and get it into the oven before the storm comes, or it won't be a real thunder cake. So even here, um, oh, I still have my stuff up here. Um, so even here, she knows how to make the thunder cake. So that's how many miles it is. Understand? We need to know how far away the storm is so we have time to make the cake and get it into the oven before the storm comes, or it won't be real thunder cake. So she knows that you have to count. She knows how long it takes to make the thunder cake. And she knows you have to have a certain amount of time to be able to make it. So then there's another detail there that tells me that she's made this before. All right. And I'm going to read this one. Her eyes surveyed the black clouds away off in the distance. Then she strode into the kitchen. Her worn hands pulled a thick book from the shelf above the wood stove. Let's find that recipe, child, she crowed as she lovingly fingered the grease stained pages to a creased spot. Here it is, thunder cake. She carefully penned the ingredients on a piece of notepaper. Now let's gather all the things we'll need, she exclaimed as she scurried toward the back door. So I see some more evidence that is going to support my answer about how, about that she has made this cake before. So it's right here where it says, let's find that recipe, child, she crowed as she lovingly fingered the grease stained pages to the creased spot. Here it is, thunder cake. And to me, I know that when I cook, and I have out my recipe book and I have out my cookbook, that the pages get messy when I use it, especially when I use a lot. The pages are always messy, they're getting stains on them. And so the fact that she has grease stained pages in her cookbook, and that she has this spot that's creased because she wants to remember where it is, that all tells me that she has made this before, and this must be a cookbook that's very special to her that she has this thunder cake in, and she must use it a lot. So all of those three details help me to say that she has in fact made this thunder cake before. Okay. So now we're going to use those details and we're going to put them into um, some sentences and how we could answer this question. So the question was, how do we know that grandma has made the thunder cake before? Or do you think she has? And if you think she has, how do you know? What's the evidence? So now we're going to put everything we just said together. And we're going to say, I'm going to say, yes, grandma has made this thunder cake before. And so, let me go ahead and make a new slide here. I'm just gonna make something new really quickly here, just so we can write this something down in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down here what we think. So do you think that grandma has made this before? So yes, grandma has made the thunder cake before. I think that because the text says Grandma knows it is thunder cake baking weather. It also says it is it also says that she knows how long it will take to bake the cake. Finally, it mentions that the cookbook Grandma uses is full of grease stains. All these details help me to understand that Grandma has baked the cake before. So there we have actually a complete paragraph. So we have our opening sentence. And so our opening sentence is right here. Yes, Grandma has made the thunder cake before. So this right here would be our opening sentence. And then we have three details that help us. And the text says, so make sure that you're saying the text says it's a great way to start to do your next details. Grandma knows the thunder cake baking weather. It also says how long it will take. And finally, it says the cookbook Grandma uses is full of grease stains. And then the closing sentence would be, all these details help me to understand that Grandma has baked the cake before. So this would be a complete sentence, complete paragraph. And this would be a 3 out of 3 on our discussion. Because if you remember our discussions, we need to answer the question correctly, use text evidence, have complete sentences. Because remember, for a number of the 3 points, you have to have sentences. One sentence is not going to be enough. And you have to answer all the questions and answer all the questions. And there were 2 questions in there that you had to answer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen here. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, we can talk about it another time. Thank you.